It's 11 p.m. With the kind of absolute, logical clarity that defines your best self, that you should go to sleep. Your conscious mind, the CEO in your head that sets goals and makes rational long-term plans, has made its decision. But then, an invisible force takes over. A ghost in the machine. Your thumb, with a neurology all its own, opens a social media app. You find yourself standing in the cold, humming glow of the refrigerator, looking for something you aren't even hungry for. An hour, maybe two, passes in a blurry, numb haze. And as the spell finally breaks, you're left standing in the wreckage of your own best intentions, wondering, how did I get here? Who was flying the plane? This feeling of cognitive hijacking, of being a passenger in your own body, is not a sign that you are weak or broken. It is a universal human experience. It's the sensation of a zombie at the wheel, a powerful autopilot that takes control precisely when you are tired, stressed, or unfocused, the exact moments your defenses are at their lowest. But what if I told you that this zombie isn't your enemy? What if it's the most ancient, powerful, and ruthlessly efficient part of your brain, and its only mission is to help you survive? The problem isn't the zombie. The problem is the corrupted code it's running. Today, we are not just going to talk about breaking habits. We're going to perform a systems-level debug on your brain's autopilot. We're going into the machine to find the ghost, your brain's power-saving mode. To outsmart your bad habits, you first have to develop a profound respect for the brilliant, ancient engineer that built them. You must understand that your brain is fundamentally lazy. I don't mean that as an insult. I mean it as a statement of profound biological admiration. In a world of scarce resources, where every calorie was precious, our ancestors developed a brain whose prime directive, written into its code over millions of years of evolution, was to conserve energy at all costs. Deep within your brain lies a region called the basal ganglia. This is not your modern conscious CEO, the prefrontal cortex, which burns through glucose like a high-performance sports car. The basal ganglia is the ancient, reliable, fuel-efficient engine of your mind. Its primary function is a process neuroscientists call chunking. It is the masterful ability to take a complex, multi-step sequence of actions and collapse it into a single, effortless, automated routine. A chunk. Think about the first time you tried to drive a car. Your conscious mind was screaming, check the mirrors. Hands at 10 and 2. How much pressure on the accelerator? It was mentally exhausting. But after months of repetition, the basal ganglia stepped in. It took that entire complex process, bundled it together, and turned it into one single chunk called driving. Now you can drive home, listen to a podcast, and plan your dinner all at the same time, because the act of driving itself has been relegated to the autopilot. It has become a habit. Your brain does this with everything. It is a masterpiece of efficiency. The only problem is your brain doesn't see your actions in terms of good or bad. It doesn't judge. It only sees effortful versus easy. It only understands the physics of energy conservation. A bad habit is simply a well-worn, energy-saving path that your ancient brain has paved for you. And it will continue to guide you down that path, even if it leads directly off a cliff. The willpower illusion. So if you're so smart, why can't you just decide to stop? Why can't you summon your famous willpower and force yourself onto a new, better path? Because willpower, as it is sold to us, is a myth. It's a beautiful, heroic lie we tell ourselves. You have been trying to fight a neurological supercomputer with a leaky, disposable battery. In a landmark series of studies, psychologist Roy Baumeister uncovered a phenomenon he called ego depletion. His research demonstrated that our self-control, our conscious willpower, is not an endless wellspring of character. It is a finite, depletable resource, much like a muscle. And it gets tired with overuse. Think about your day. Every single conscious decision you make is a small withdrawal from your willpower account. What should I wear? Withdrawal. How should I respond to this frustrating email? Withdrawal. Should I get the salad or the burger for lunch? Withdrawal. By the end of a long day of making hundreds of these tiny decisions, your rational, goal-oriented CEO brain is exhausted. Its battery is blinking red. But the zombie in your basal ganglia, the autopilot, it doesn't run on conscious decisions. It runs on instinct. It is wired directly to the mainframe. Its battery is always full. This is the neurological trap. This is why you can stick to a diet all day long, only to find yourself mindlessly eating ice cream at 10 p.m. This is why most bad habits, procrastination, mindless scrolling, emotional eating, happen at night. Your rational guard is down. The The CEO is asleep at his desk, and the zombie, with its simple ancient programming, quietly takes the wheel and steers you down the easiest path it knows. Trying to break a bad habit with willpower is not a strategy. It is a biologically doomed fight you are guaranteed to lose. The architect's solution: engineering your environment. So if willpower is a myth, what's the alternative? You stop trying to be the strongest person in the room. You start being the smartest. You stop focusing on your internal character flaws and start re-engineering your external world. You have to stop thinking like a soldier and start thinking like an architect. You must understand the physics of friction. Every action you take, from getting out of bed to checking your phone, has a certain amount of activation energy, or friction, associated with it. Your ancient zombie brain, in its infinite laziness, is hardwired to always choose the path with the lowest friction. The secret to breaking bad habits, therefore, is not to make yourself stronger. It is to make the bad habit physically harder to do. You must strategically add speed bumps, locked doors, and inconvenient detours to the paths you want to avoid. Want to stop mindlessly scrolling on your phone the moment you wake up? Don't charge it next to your bed. Charge it in the kitchen. That single act of adding the friction of having to get out of bed and walk across the house is often more powerful than hours of self-help talk. Want to stop eating junk food? The most effective health decision you can make happens not in your kitchen, but in the grocery store. Simply don't buy it. Don't bring it into the house. The friction of having to get dressed and drive to the store at 10 p.m. is a fortress wall that can defeat almost any craving. Conversely, you must become a master at removing friction from your good habits. Want to go to the gym in the morning? Don't just decide to do it. Prepare for it. Lay out your workout clothes, your shoes, your keys, and your water bottle the night before. You are creating a frictionless, downhill slide directly from your bed to your car. Want to read more? Don't leave your book on a dusty shelf in another room. Put it directly on your pillow. You are making the good choice the lazy choice. You are reverse engineering your own biology. The coder's solution: a single line of code. Re-engineering your environment is the first and most powerful step. But the autopilot itself needs new instructions. You can't just erase the old code. It's burned into the circuitry. But you can write a new line of code that overrides it. Psychologist Peter Gallwitzer discovered this cheat code. It's a simple, elegant tool called an implementation intention. He found that people who wrote down a specific, detailed plan for a new behavior in a simple, if-then format were 2 to 3 times more likely to follow through than those who simply stated their goal. This works because it preloads a decision into your autopilot. You are giving the zombie a new, clear, pre-written script to run when it encounters its old cue. You're not relying on your tired CEO to make a good decision in the moment. The decision has already been made. The code is elegantly simple. If I encounter the cue for my bad habit, then I will perform my new desired routine. You don't just say, I want to eat healthier. That's a vague, useless wish. The new code is, if it is 3 p.m. and I feel the sluggish urge to snack on chips, then I will immediately drink a large glass of cold water and eat the apple that I have already placed on my desk. You don't just say, I want to stop wasting time online. The new code is, if I unlock my phone with the intent to mindlessly check social media, then I will immediately open the Kindle app on my phone and read one single page of a book. This isn't a negotiation. It's a command. The code is written. The program just has to run. It's the most effective way to turn a vague intention into a concrete, automated action. The strategist's solution, the first domino. So now you have the tools to re-engineer your world and rewrite your code. But where do you start? You look at your life and see a dozen bad habits you want to break. If you try to attack them all at once, your willpower account will be instantly bankrupted and you will collapse under the strain. The strategic solution is to ignore the entire battlefield and find the first domino. In his research on habits, the writer Charles Duhigg identified a powerful phenomenon he calls keystone habits. A keystone habit is a single, often small, high-leverage habit that creates a positive, cascading chain reaction, spilling over into other areas of your life and triggering a waterfall of positive changes automatically. Trying to change all your habits at once is like trying to push over a giant, solid wall. It's an exhausting, overwhelming, and ultimately futile endeavor. But a keystone habit is the first small domino in a massive, complex, and beautiful setup. Your job is not to push the wall. Your job is to find the one, tiny domino that, once tipped, will do all the heavy lifting for you. Exercise is the classic keystone habit. People who start exercising regularly, even for just a few minutes a day, often find themselves, without even consciously trying, eating healthier, sleeping better, feeling more focused at work, and being more patient with their families. The exercise itself is the first domino that knocks over all the others. For others, a keystone habit might be a daily 5-minute meditation, which leads to less stress, which leads to less emotional eating. For some, making their bed every single morning is a small act of order that starts a chain reaction of other organized behaviors throughout the day. Your mission is to stop asking, "How do I break all my bad habits?" and start asking the more strategic question, "What is the one habit that, if I changed it, would make everything else a little bit easier?" Focus all your architectural and coding energy there. Find your first domino. Let's synthesize this firmware update. We've learned that your brain is a ruthlessly efficient, energy-saving machine running on ancient Autopilot software. We've learned that the idea that you can defeat this machine with a heroic, iron will is a biological myth. Your conscious mind has a leaky battery that is no match for the always-on power of the Autopilot. The solution, therefore, is not to fight the machine. The solution is to become a better programmer. You redesign the environment it operates in by strategically using friction. You rewrite the script it runs on by using powerful, if-then commands. And you choose the most strategic point of attack by finding your keystone habit, your first domino. Every single action you take is a vote. When you unconsciously follow your old automated script, when you reach for your phone in a moment of boredom, you are casting a vote for your current identity. But every single time you successfully execute your new preloaded plan, every time you choose the apple instead of the chips, you are casting one single, powerful, tangible vote for the person you are choosing to become. Bad habits are not your identity. They are not a verdict on your character. They are just a path in a field you have walked too many times. It is time to choose a new path. It will feel difficult at first. You will feel the resistance of the tall grass. But with every single step, you pack down the grass. The new path becomes easier. It becomes clearer. And eventually, without you even noticing, it becomes automatic. It becomes the new normal. You are the architect. You are the coder. The blueprint is in your hands.